Good afternoon and welcome back to Person of Means YouTube channel. This is Rakim Reed and I am the founder of Person of Means, and today I want to talk about my own suicide story on this World National Suicide Day 2017. Oh man, back in 2005, 2006, it was a really rough year for me back then. I was still going to the same high school, but a number of cascading factors contributed to my suicide or near suicide attempts, being on that razor edge of, if I had a gun, then I would kill myself and just blow my brains out, and that would be the end of it. No one would care. No one would really notice I'm gone. My existence would be meaningless at that point. Back then, I was about 16, 17 years old, and family life wasn't that great. School life had actually gotten better in 2004, 2005. That was my junior year of high school. And my senior year, it all went downhill. I had to live with my grandparents in the same house. My dad and my stepmom had bought a house with my grandparents, my dad's parents. And they ended up having a disagreement about whether to sell it or not, and how much money my dad and stepmom should get from the sale, and how much money they would do for participating in the process of buying it and maintaining it. So they bounced. They went back to their old townhouse they had gotten, which actually was their first property they had gotten down in Georgia, right at the close of my junior year in spring 2005. I was away for the summer that summer, so I got a quick break, as usual, as I did every summer. Then I came back that August to my grandparents living there. I was never particularly fond of my grandparents, mostly because they were boring. That was my main thing. But little did I know the coming semester would make things far, far, far worse. I was already sad that I couldn't see my friends as much due to my grandparents being there and living there. There was some confusion about whether I should ask to even go out. My friends kind of branched off into their own activities, whether it was just athletics, wrapping up their school time, and for senior year, repeating grades in one case, or people were going their own separate ways, and I was staying with my grandparents, and it was just a really, really challenging time for me. So I had to pretty much go through the college application process myself. My dad and stepmom would not help me through that process at all. Paying for it, really support, or even co-signing loans, which I can understand to a degree, until you realize they pushed college on me the whole time and still expected me to go to college somehow. Just the support was lacking strongly. And for me, which I probably touch on in a future video, growing up as a child, was always more of a fearful, anxious, lacking confidence child. Wasn't very sociable, very, very introverted. I'll go as far as say shy, fearful of social situations, fearful of people, what they might think of me, never quite fitting in. with any particular group. Maybe more of nerds, sort of geeky Pokemon card playing guys, video games, that kind of arena. But outside of that, nah, I wasn't with the jocks. I wasn't with the, those people who could blend into jocks and the nerds, or I wasn't with the so-called thugs, and I wasn't doing drugs or anything like that. And I found that kind of isolated me to a degree. I also had a penchant for being arrogant too, having some degree of pride, even when I didn't have anything to be prideful about, given my situation. But that's another story. To get to the point, that fall in senior year, my loneliness just increased a lot. My dad and stepmom really shelter me to a degree, while at the same time preaching that I should go out and socialize, which was kind of weird. While simultaneously I lived in Georgia from 7th grade to 12th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and to a degree 10th, I was either grounded for getting a C on a progress report, not a report card, just a progress report, be grounded for the whole school year, or I would be just some minor thing that my stepmom or dad would have an issue with, would result in me being grounded, so I couldn't go outside and see the few friends I did have and socialize, or at times really use a computer or play video games or anything. So I developed what I realize now, which I think I get from my grandma on my mom's side, but take it to an extreme, just sitting and looking out the window, just alone, and watching the trees blow in the wind and a car go by occasionally in suburbia in Atlanta, Stone Mountain to be specific. But that fall, all of that kind of cascaded into one nasty environment for me. I just stayed to myself a lot. I didn't have any friends to hang out with. Definitely not regularly. My dad, stepmom weren't supportive. My mom's up here in Virginia wasn't really supportive. She did do more financially as far as helping with prom and things afterwards. So that helped. But going through that semester where my grades were top notch, the best they've ever been, but I felt more miserable than ever. And then, really a situation came up with my grandparents, where they blamed me for something that I didn't do, and that really caused my distrust of them, and really people to grow. I became a lot more cynical for a long time, perhaps from 17 to about 25 years of age, maybe even 26 now. I became really cynical of people, particularly family, having friends, even in relationships, my ex-wife, and so forth. But during that fall, I came dangerously close, really feeling all these negative feelings and despair, really true. I never felt despair like that, where it's like, well, I could just get a knife downstairs and probably at that point quite literally just cut myself and bleed out in my room, and no one probably know until the next day, or starve myself and I could just die in my room, secluded until the next day, or when my body was found, or if I had access to a gun, really shoot myself. And knowing my grandparents' hearing, if they were even there in the first place, they wouldn't have known. Maybe to an extent not even cared. So that's part of my story. Like I said, I'm going to go into deeper detail as I start doing more of these videos and talk about specific situations in my life that led me to doing person of means, and living a better life now and having a semblance of balance and peace relative to the previous 27 years of my life. So thank you for listening. Definitely show your support for this Suicide Day. If you know someone in your life that has been experiencing mental health issues, like I said, for me it was anxiety, depression, things like that. If it could be or more severe, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, etc. Definitely reach out to them. Offer a shoulder for them to lean on, cry on. There's counselors, psychotherapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, the resources out there that can help people that you may know or you yourself, so that you can be in a better place and really experience life in a positive manner and not just take yourself out before you can or miss out on the experiences, the positive experiences that you can have that life offers. So thank you for listening and enjoy your day. Bye.